A human cadet stands in a silent training arena of a warship the size of a city. Her alien commander laughs and says, "What are you gonna do? Cry?" One tear hits the metal floor, and the deck plates shudder like an earthquake. Every camera on the ship catches it live. Something ancient has just awakened on. Only she can feel it. An alien commander mocks a human cadet. "What are you gonna do? Cry?" One tear answers with a shockwave that could rewrite the laws of physics. Follow Lyra's journey across 8 suspense-filled episodes where emotion becomes the galaxy's most dangerous weapon. Aha, human cadet was mocked as weak. One tear answered with the power to bend gravity, and the galaxy will never be the same. Witness the complete 8th episode. HFY Sci-Fi adventure where emotion becomes the ultimate weapon. Follow Lyra Hale, the first Resonant, as she defies an alien empire, calms a raging nebula, and shows the stars that humans are unbreakable. What you'll experience: epic human versus alien, suspense star-spanning battles, and hidden ancient tech. Heart-pounding HFY storytelling and easy-to-follow episodes. Subscribe for more HFY stories, your channel link. Like, subscribe, comment to share your theories and favorite moments. Asterisk, the training arena of the warship Iron Eclipse was built to break the toughest soldiers in the galaxy. Metal walls curved high above like the inside of a giant drum. Bright white lights burned through the cold air, turning every movement into a sharp shadow. Hundreds of alien cadets stood in a perfect circle, their black armor shining like oil. In the center stood Lyra Hale, the only human in the program. Her brown training jacket was damp with sweat. The last test had pushed her lungs until each breath felt like fire. She held her chin high anyway. Around her, the alien recruits whispered in their own languages, their voices a low hiss. They were taller, stronger, faster. They called humans soft-skins and laughed every time she stumbled. Commander Zarek stepped forward. He was a towering figure of gray and silver scales, his eyes glowing like blue ice. Every cadet fell silent at his approach. His heavy boots hit the deck with a sound like a hammer. "You failed the gravity sprint again," Zarek said, his voice echoing through the arena. "You are weak. Your kind is weak. This fleet does not need you." Lyra bit the inside of her cheek. Her muscles trembled, but she refused to look away. "I can do it again," she said, her voice rough but steady. The commander tilted his head, a slow, mocking smile twisting his sharp mouth. "Again? You think determination changes physics? What are you gonna do, human? Cry?" The circle of cadets erupted with cruel laughter. Lyra's throat tightened. Heat built behind her eyes. She had endured insults since the day she arrived, but this one slid deep. Her father had said the same words years ago when she had fallen during a mountain climb. "What are you gonna do, Cry?" Her father was gone now. The memory stung. Zarek stepped closer until his shadow swallowed her. "Show me your strength," he said, his voice low, dangerous. "Or go back to your fragile world." The laughter faded to silence. All eyes fixed on her. Lyra's vision blurred. She clenched her fists so hard her nails dug into her palms. She told herself not to break, not to give them what they wanted. But a single tear slipped free. It fell in slow motion, catching the bright lights as it dropped. The instant it struck the metal deck, the floor trembled. At first it was a faint vibration, like distant thunder. Then the entire arena shuddered. The lights flickered. A deep humming note filled the air, so low it rattled bones. Cadets staggered. Some reached for the railings, eyes wide. Zarek snapped his head upward. "Stabilizers," he barked. "Stabilizers at full power." A voice crackled through the intercom. "But the ship is shaking from the inside." The vibration grew stronger. A few cadets fell to their knees. Dust rained from the seams in the ceiling. Lyra stared at the spot where her tear had landed. A thin silver glow spread out from it like ripples on a pond. The light pulsed in time with her heartbeat. She stepped back, her chest tight. I didn't." Zarek grabbed her arm, his claws gentle but firm. His glowing eyes narrowed. "What did you do?" "Nothing." The glow brightened, a circle widening beneath their feet. Strange symbols like letters made of lightning edged themselves into the deck. The ship's alarm howled. "All hands brace for impact," shouted the intercom. But there was no impact. Only the deep hum rising in pitch, filling the air until it was almost music. The cadets stared at Lyra now, not with mockery, but with fear. Zarek released her arm and took a step back. His voice dropped to a whisper, meant only for her. "Human, what are you?" Lyra shook her head, trembling. "I don't know." A sudden silence fell. The humming stopped, as if a giant hand had muted the sound. The light steadied. Then the floor beneath Lyra's feet split. Just a hairline crack, glowing the same silver as the symbols. It traced a perfect circle around her, containment field up. Zarek shouted, but the crack sealed itself before the field could engage. The glow faded, leaving the deck smooth and cold as if nothing had happened. The alarms cut off. The only sound was heavy breathing. Lyra wiped her face. Her single tear had caused all of this. She knew it. Zarek straightened slowly. He looked at her with a new kind of respect, and something else, curiosity. "Report to my quarters immediately after this drill," he ordered. "Yes, Commander," she whispered. The circle of cadets opened to let her through. None laughed now. Some lowered their heads as she passed, a gesture of reluctant awe, as Lyra walked out of the arena. She felt the deck hum beneath her boots, a faint rhythm that matched her heartbeat. Somewhere deep inside the iron eclipse, the ship seemed to whisper back. She didn't know if it was her imagination or something far stranger, but she knew one thing. Nothing would ever be the same again. Behind her, Zarek watched, his glowing eyes narrowing. He tapped a communicator on his wrist. "Bridge," he said quietly. "Lock down all sensor data from the last 5 minutes. Level Omega clearance." A pause. "Understood, Commander." "Shall we notify the Council?" Zarek's gaze stayed fixed on the door where Lyra had disappeared. "Not yet," he said. "Not until we know what she really is." The channel clicked off, far across the ship. Hidden deep in the core, ancient circuits awakened for the first time in centuries. A pulse of silver light moved through the warship's veins like a heartbeat, and somewhere in the darkness, a voice no one else could hear whispered a single word: Resonant. Lyra stopped mid-step. She swore she heard it soft, inside her mind. Her skin prickled. She turned, but the corridor was empty. Only the silent hum of the great ship surrounded her. She took a slow breath. Whatever had started in that arena wasn't finished. It was only the beginning. The iron eclipse drifted through silent space, a city-sized shadow against a field of stars. Inside its endless corridors, the hum of engines was steady and deep until nightfall. That was when the whispers began. Lyra sat alone in her small cabin, boots on the floor, elbows on her knees. The ship's lights dimmed for the artificial night cycle, leaving only a faint blue glow from the control panel. She should have been asleep. Instead, she kept listening. The sound was almost nothing at first, a soft vibration that tickled the edge of hearing. It wasn't the usual thrum of the drives. This felt alive. She closed her eyes. The hum rose and fell in slow rhythm, like a heartbeat. "I am not imagining this," she thought. A sharp knock broke the quiet. "Cadet Hale," a low voice said. "Open." Lyra jumped. She recognized that deep, cold tone. "Commander Zarak." She touched the door panel. The lock hissed and slid aside. Zarek filled the doorway, tall and armored, eyes glowing like blue fire. Behind him stood 2 armed security officers. "You will follow me," he said. "Now." Lyra's pulse quickened. "What's wrong?" Questions later, Zarek replied, "Move." They walked through silent corridors where lights flickered strangely, as if the ship itself held its breath. Crew members stepped aside when they saw them, their faces pale. Zarek led her into the main engineering bay, a cavern of pipes, glowing conduits, and humming reactors. Normally, it roared with activity. Tonight it was nearly empty, guarded only by a handful of tense technicians. Chief Engineer Teva, thin alien with silver skin, met them at a console. "Commander," she said, voice tight. The readings matched the disturbance from the arena. Zarek's jaw tightened. "Show her," Tava tapped a sequence on the display. A three-dimensional image appeared, a glowing outline of the ship. Tiny pulses of silver light traveled through the hole like veins carrying blood. "These patterns started after the incident," Tava said. "They are not in our design. And they respond to sound." Lyra asked. The engineer nodded. "Especially to heartbeats." Lyra's own heart thudded faster. The silver veins on the display brightened in perfect time. Everyone turned toward her. Zarek folded his arms. "It follows you." "I don't know why," Lyra said. "I didn't do anything. It just happened." Tava stared at her as if studying a rare creature. "You have triggered a resonance in the core. We can hear it in the walls." As if to prove her words, a faint, almost musical hum swept through the bay. The lights dimmed. The floor shivered. "Containment fields are stable," a technician called, though his voice wavered. Lyra felt the vibration in her bones. It was stronger than before, almost like a quiet voice trying to speak. She pressed her palms to the cold railing, and then she heard it. Not a word, at least not in any language. She knew but a pattern, a call that pulsed in time with her heartbeat. She gasped and stepped back. "Did you hear that?" Zarek's eyes narrowed. "Hear what?" "The voice," she whispered. No one answered. The hum faded. Leaving a silence heavy enough to crush breath, Zarek led Lyra to a side chamber, door sealing behind them with a metallic sigh. Only a single light glowed overhead. "What are you hiding?" he demanded. "No human cadet can do this." "I'm not hiding anything," Lyra said, forcing herself to meet his gaze. "I'm just me." Zarek leaned closer, his voice low. "I reported nothing to the High Council, not yet. But if this continues, they will come for you, and they will not ask politely." Lyra swallowed hard. "Why protect me at all?" For a moment, the commander said nothing. Then, almost grudgingly, he answered, "Because fear breeds mistakes. The Council destroys what it does not understand. I would rather know the truth first." He turned away, pacing like a restless predator. Something inside this ship woke when your tear touched the deck. Something older than the fleet itself, and it answers to you. Lyra hugged her arms around herself. "I don't want it to." "Want is irrelevant," Zarek said. "Control is everything." He stopped and fixed her with his icy stare. "From now on, you stay near me. No unsupervised movements. No contact with other cadets unless I approve. Do you understand?" Lyra hesitated. "Yes, Commander." "Good. Now go. And if the whispers return, tell me immediately." Back in her cabin, Lyra sat on her bunk, staring at the dark ceiling. The hum was gone, yet she felt it waiting, like a tide beneath calm water. She touched the spot on her palm where her nails had cut skin earlier. The tiny wounds pulsed with the rhythm of her heart. A sudden flicker of silver light crossed the wall. She held her breath. The light stretched into thin letter symbols like the ones that had glowed on the deck. They shimmered for only a second before fading, but she knew what she had seen. Lyra lay back, eyes wide open, sleep impossible. Far below, deep inside the ship's core, ancient circuits pulsed in answer. A whisper slid through the metal, too faint for sensors, meant only for her mind. This time she understood one word: awaken. The cabin lights flared and died. Plunging the room into darkness, Lyra sat upright. Heart racing, the iron eclipse had spoken again, and she knew the whispers were only growing louder. The next morning, the iron eclipse drifted in silent orbit around a dead moon. From space, the moon looked harmless, just rock and dust, but the crew felt a weight in the air that had nothing to do with gravity. Lyra Hale woke from a restless sleep. The whispers had followed her into her dreams, faint silver letters burning in the dark. A single word: awaken. She rubbed her eyes and found Commander Zarek waiting at her door. His presence filled the narrow corridor. "Dress quickly," he said. "We're going to the archives." The archives. Level Omega. Human files. His eyes glowed like cold stars. No one enters without council clearance. Today, you do. Lyra's stomach tightened. Why me? Zarek didn't answer. He only turned and walked. They descended deep into the ship, past levels Lyra had never seen. Security drones scanned them at every checkpoint. The air grew cooler, the lights dimmer, gugged, until the corridor ended at a black door etched with ancient symbols. Zarek placed his palm on a scanner. Commander Zarek, code Delta Nine. The door slid open with a low hiss. Inside, the archive chamber stretched wide and dark. Walls of data, crystals flickered like frozen stars. At the center hovered a single console, its surface glowing faint silver. Zarek motioned for Lyra to step forward. The council believes these records lost. Only the fleet's original architects kept copies. Search for Project Resonance. Lyra's fingers hovered over the console. Resonance? Type it. She entered the word. The crystals around the room pulsed, releasing streams of light that formed a three-dimensional image, Earth. Surrounded by a halo of symbols, text scrolled across the projection in ancient Terran script. Lyra read aloud, her voice shaking. Project Resonance. Initiated during the last war, goal unlock dormant human ability to bond with gravitational fields through emotional frequency. Status classified Omega. Terminated after catastrophic event. Her breath caught. This is impossible. Zarek watched her carefully. Is it? The file expanded, revealing images of humans with eyes glowing silver, standing amid twisted metal and floating debris. Whole buildings hovered in the air around them. One name glimmered brighter than the rest. Dr. Miriam Hale. Lyra froze. Her grandmother's name. She stepped closer to the projection, heart pounding. Lines of data followed. Lead scientist. Final subject. Disappeared after core breach 217. That's my grandmother, Lyra whispered. My father never spoke of her. He said she died before I was born. Zarek tilted his head, studying her. Your bloodline is the key. Lyra shook her head. But that was centuries ago. How could this? The console interrupted with a sharp chime. A voice, soft but clear, filled the chamber. Resonant signature confirmed, it said. Genetic match. Lyra Hale. Access granted. The projection changed. A hidden file unfolded, showing a diagram of the iron eclipse itself. At its heart lay a massive engine labeled the Core Resonant Matrix. Zarek's eyes narrowed. The ship was built around it, he said. Not to power the drives, but to wait for you. The console pulsed with silver light. More text appeared. Warning: emotional resonance can destabilize artificial gravity and warp space-time. Subject must achieve control or risk catastrophic failure. Lyra's hands trembled. This is what happened in the arena, she whispered. My tear. It wasn't just a tremor. I triggered this core. Before Zarek could reply, the chamber lights flickered. A low hum filled the air, the same heartbeat-like rhythm she had felt before. The data crystals vibrated, their light intensifying until the whole room glowed silver. Then a new voice spoke. Not from the console, but from everywhere at once. Child of Hale, it said. The core waits. Awaken the song. Lyra staggered back. Who's there? Zarit drew his sidearms, scanning the shadows. Identify yourself. No answer, only the rising hum. The floor beneath them shivered. Streams of silver light flowed from the walls to the console, coiling like living rivers. They formed a ring around Lyra's feet, just as in the training arena. Zarek grabbed her arm. We need to leave, but the door behind them slammed shut with a metallic clang. The voice came again, softer but unmistakable. Blood of the Resonant, fear not. The core remembers. Lyra felt a pull inside her chest, as if her heartbeat synced with the ship's. Images flashed across her mind, planets breaking apart, stars collapsing, and a woman who looked like an older version of herself. Eyes blazing silver, she gasped and fell to her knees. Lyra. Zarek crouched beside her, gripping her shoulders. Fight it. Focus. The visions faded as suddenly as they came. The hum softened, and the silver light receded into the crystals. The door unlocked with a hiss. Zarek helped her stand. "We're done here," he said sharply. "For now?" Lyra nodded, still shaking. "Commander." That voice. It knew my name. I heard it too, Zarek admitted, his usual calm broken. But the Council must not. Not yet. He deactivated the console, and the holograms vanished like mist. As they left the chamber, Lyra glanced back. For an instant, one crystal glowed brighter than the rest, pulsing gently in time with her heartbeat. Back in the main corridor, Zarek stopped and faced her. "Listen to me," he said, voice low. "You are no ordinary human. Your grandmother helped create something the galaxy feared. If the Council discovers this, they will lock you away. Where worse." Lyra met his glowing eyes. "What do we do?" "We learn control before they find out. And we keep searching for the rest of these files." A distant alarm echoed through the hallway, cutting him off. The ship-wide intercom blared, "All units to battle stations." Unidentified vessels approaching at high speed. Zarek's gaze hardened. "It seems our time is shorter than I thought." He motioned for her to follow. "Stay close, Resonant. The galaxy is already coming for you." Lyra felt the hum return, faint but steady. Inside her chest, whatever waited beyond the Iron Eclipse's hull, she knew it wasn't just an enemy fleet. Something far older and far more dangerous had already awakened. The Iron Eclipse ran dark through a field of broken asteroids, hiding from the unknown fleet that still trailed them. Inside, alarms had gone silent. But tension hung heavy as smoke. Lyra Hale stood alone in Observation Deck 3, a glass dome opening to endless stars. She should have been in the cadet barracks. Instead, she needed to breathe and think. Her reflection stared back at her in the wide window pane. Eyes shadowed from lack of sleep. Behind her own heartbeat, she heard it again, a faint hum, like a deep note from a hidden instrument. She placed her palm against the glass. The hum grew louder. "Why are you calling me?" she whispered. A soft vibration answered, rippling through the floor. The doors hissed open. Commander Zarek stepped in, silent as a shadow. "You shouldn't be here," he said. "I can't sleep," Lyra replied. "It keeps." Tucking Zarek moved beside her, his silver armor reflecting starlight. "The core?" "Yes. It feels alive." He studied her carefully. "The ship is alive, in a way. But it should not be aware of you." Lyra turned toward him. "Maybe it's been waiting," before Zarek could answer. The observation glass flickered an impossible shimmer, like water disturbed by wind. Symbols glowed faintly across the surface, silver and fluid. The same runes from the training deck. Zarek reached for his communicator. "Bridge. Confirm, Commander," the bridge officer interrupted. "No system activity in your sector." "All readings normal?" Zarek lowered the device slowly. His eyes, bright as ice, stayed on the glowing symbols. "They can't see it," Lyra whispered. The symbols pulsed once. In perfect rhythm with her heartbeat, a low voice filled the dome. So soft it might have been only thought. "Resonant." Lyra gasped. "You hear that?" Zarek's jaw tightened. "I hear nothing." She stepped closer to the glass. "It knows me." The hum deepened until the window trembled. Outside, the starfield warped just for an instant, as if space itself bent inward. Zarek gripped her shoulder. "Nuff. Step back." But the ship spoke again, clearer this time. The sound carrying through every bolt and beam. "Child of Hale," the core remembers. The lights dimmed across the deck. Lyra's pulse raced. It's the same voice from the archives. Zarek scanned the room, his face unreadable. "What do you want from her?" he demanded. Silence. Then a new vibration swept under their feet. Like a giant heartbeat, the observation window darkened until it was a mirror of black. Shapes formed faint outlines of a great sphere deep within the ship. The core, Lyra said. She could feel it now, far below. It's pulsing with her every breath. Suddenly the ship lurched, warning. Sirens blared through the corridors. Zarek snapped to action. Bridge, report. Unstable gravity surged near the main engine. A voice shouted over the comm. Source unknown, wait commander, it's coming from the Resonant matrix. Zarek cursed in his own language. He pulled Lyra toward the door. Move now. They ran through twisting corridors as the deck plates vibrated beneath them. Crew members shouted and grabbed rails as artificial gravity buckled. Lyra felt the surge inside her bones. The ship's heartbeat was her own. They reached the engine core, an enormous chamber of glowing conduits and silver machinery. Engineers scrambled around the great sphere at its center, the Resonant matrix. Energy arced across its surface like silent lightning. Chief Engineer Teva met them, eyes wide. Commander, the matrix is responding to an unknown signal. We can't shut it down. Zarek turned to Lyra. You're the signal. Lyra shook her head. I'm not doing anything. But the core pulsed again, silver light flaring. A low musical note filled the chamber, beautiful and frightening. Without warning, a column of light extended from the sphere, reaching toward Lyra. Zarek drew his weapon. Stay back, he ordered the engineers. The light stopped a meter away and hovered, trembling like a living thing. Lyra felt drawn forward. Her fear and curiosity tangled until she stepped closer despite herself. The light brightened. In its glow, she saw flickers of memory, not her own. Her grandmother standing before a similar core, arms raised. Planets folding like paper. Stars collapsing into silver dust. The voice returned, strong and clear. Resonant, the bond awakens. Guide the song, or chaos follows. The deck trembled violently. Alarms screamed. Zarek grabbed her arm. Control it. He shouted over the roar. Focus your mind. I don't know how. Then feel, he said. Your emotions started this. Use it to end it. Lyra closed her eyes. She thought of her father's mountain climbs, the steady beat of his heart when he hugged her, the quiet strength she had lost. Tears welled, but this time she did not fight them. A single tear fell, and the core answered. The light around her softened to a calm silver. The violent shaking slowed. Alarms quieted. The great sphere pulsed once more, then dimmed to a gentle glow. Silence returned, broken only by the slow thrum of engines. Engineers stared, speechless. Tava whispered, gravity fields stable. Systems normal. Zarek kept his gaze on Lyra. You calmed it. Lyra opened her eyes, breathless. I didn't control anything. I just felt the core gave a final soft hum, like a satisfied sigh, and the column of light withdrew. Zarek lowered his weapon. It listens to you, he said. No machine should do that. Lyra looked at the great sphere, its surface now calm and dark. It's not a machine, she said quietly. It's alive. Later, in the quiet of a secured briefing room, Zarek stood across from her, arms folded. The council will know something happened, he said. But they cannot know everything. Not yet. Lyra met his glowing eyes. You think they'll come for me? They'll come for the core, he replied. And they'll see you as the key. Lyra felt the hum again, faint and warm, as if the ship itself rested beneath her heartbeat. She knew then that the Iron Eclipse was no longer just a vessel. It was a companion. And it had chosen her far below, deep in its hidden circuits. The core pulsed one last silent message. Together, Lyra shivered. She could almost hear it whisper through the walls, and she knew this was only the beginning of what the ship could do. The Iron Eclipse floated in the cold dark between stars, its massive hull cloaked and silent. Inside, tension simmered like a storm about to break. Lyra Hale felt it the moment she woke. The ship's heartbeat, the soft silver hum she now knew as the core was restless, pulsing faster than usual. When she stepped into the corridor, she found Commander Zarek waiting. His silver-blue eyes glowed brighter than ever. "Stay close," he said. "Something is moving against us." Before Lyra could ask, the overhead lights flickered. A harsh alarm ripped through the corridor. "Security breach on Deck 7. All units respond." Zarek's jaw tightened. "Mutiny," he said. "I warned the Council this would come." They raced through twisting halls as the ship shook under sudden weapons fire. Distant shouts echoed, boots on metal, orders barked in alien languages. 2 armed Marines rounded the corner. Zarek raised a clawed hand. "Identify yourselves." The taller Marine hesitated, then lifted his rifle. "Commander, stand down." "By order of the High Council, the human is to be taken into custody." Lyra's heart slammed. "The Council already?" Zarek moved like lightning. He swept the rifle aside and struck the Marine with a single blow. The soldier dropped. The second Marine froze, then fled down the corridor. Zarek turned to Lyra. "They want the core, and they think you are the core." The hum inside Lyra's chest grew louder, as if the ship itself was listening. "What do we do?" she asked. "We hold the engine room," Zarek said. "If they reach the resonant matrix, ship and you are lost." They sprinted through dim passageways, passing crews in panic. Sparks rained from a ruptured conduit. Somewhere above, heavy doors slammed shut with metallic booms. The core's heartbeat matched her own, faster, stronger. "Protect," a whisper filled her mind. They reached the engine chamber. Chief Engineer Tava was already there with a small group of loyal crew, weapons ready. The great silver sphere of the core glowed brighter than Lyra had ever seen. Tava's face was grim. "Commander, half the security squads have turned. They claim the Council ordered it." Zarek's voice cut through the tension. "Hold this room. The core must not fall." Lyra moved closer to the sphere. Energy arced across its surface like silver lightning. The hum deepened until her bones vibrated. "Lyra," Zarek said sharply, "stay behind cover." But the core called again. Clear and urgent. "Resonant. Shield us." She closed her eyes and placed her hands on the railing. The first wave of mutineers stormed through the far door. Plasma bolts lit the chamber with violent blue flashes. Loyal crew fired back. The sound of battle echoed like thunder. Zarek fought with deadly precision, his movements a blur of claws and steel. Still, more soldiers poured in. Lyra's fear spiked. Tandakor responded. A sudden gravity surge swept the room. Tools, weapons, and fighters lifted from the floor as if caught in a silent storm. Mutineers screamed as they floated, struggling for control. Zarek stared in shock but kept his footing, his heavier frame anchoring him. "Lyra," he called. "Focus it." I'm trying." The silver light from the core brightened until it was painful to look at. Lyra felt the ship's power coursing through her veins. Every heartbeat sent another pulse of force, pushing the attackers back. One soldier aimed a rifle midair. Lyra gasped and the weapon bent as if made of soft clay, twisting from his grip. Zarek used the moment to signal his team. "Advance." Loyal crews surged forward, securing the chamber while the mutineers drifted helplessly. At last, the attackers retreated, dragging the injured through the corridor. The heavy door sealed with a clang. The floating tools and soldiers dropped gently. Back to the deck as gravity settled. Silence followed, broken only by the slow, fading hum of the core. Lyra swayed, exhausted. Zarek caught her arm before she fell. "You held them off," he said. "The core answered you again." "I didn't mean to hurt them," she whispered. "You saved the ship," Tava said, awe in her voice. "Without you, we'd be dead or captured." The intercom crackled with a cold new voice. "Commander Zarek, surrender the human and the core. This is the will of the High Council. You have 1 hour." The line went dead. Zarek's eyes narrowed. The Council will not stop. Lyra felt the core's heartbeat settle into a low, steady rhythm, like a quiet promise. "We can't keep running," she said softly. "They'll chase us forever." Zarek looked at her with something close to respect. "Then we don't run. We choose where to fight." He turned to Tava. Plot a course into the Maelstrom Nebula. Its storms will hide us long enough to plan our next move. Tava hesitated. Those gravitational tides could tear the ship apart. Zarek glanced at Lyra. Not. If the Resonant protects us? As the crew worked to set the course, Lyra stood before the great silver core. Its light pulsed gently, almost like a heartbeat in time with hers, in the quiet of her mind. A final whisper came, calm and certain. Together, we endure. Lyra touched the railing, feeling the warmth of living metal beneath her fingers. The mutiny was only the beginning. The real war, the one that stretched across stars and into the depths of her own blood, was about to begin. The iron eclipse plunged toward the Maelstrom Nebula, a swirling ocean of violet clouds and violent gravity tides. Outside the viewports, lightning forked across the stars like silver rivers. Inside, the ship trembled under the nebula's pull. Lyra Hale stood on the command bridge beside Commando Zarek. Every vibration of the hull echoed through her bones. The core's heartbeat inside her chest thudded faster, a steady rhythm that matched the storm. Entering the outer ring, reported Chief Engineer Tava. Gravity flux rising beyond safe limits. Hold the course, Zarek ordered, voice calm but tight. The nebula will hide us from the Council fleet. Lyra felt a whisper in her mind, soft and insistent. Come deeper. She looked at Zarek. It wants me to go to the core. He turned, his glowing eyes narrowing. Now it's calling, she said. If I don't answer, I think the ship will tear apart. Zarek studied her for a long breath, then nodded. I'll escort you. The corridors shook as they moved toward the engine chamber. Alarms flickered red across the walls. Crew members gripped rails, staring at Lyra as she passed. Some looked with awe, others with quiet fear. When the chamber doors opened, a blast of warm silver light spilled out. The resonant matrix pulsed like a living star, brighter than ever. The core spoke directly into Lyra's mind. Heart of Hale. Enter. Zarek placed a heavy hand on her shoulder. You don't have to do this alone. I think I do, she replied, voice trembling but firm. But stay close. He gave a short nod and followed as she stepped across the threshold. A walkway extended toward the massive sphere. With every step, the air grew heavier, as if gravity itself bent toward the core. Silver symbols shimmered across the floor, matching the ones she had seen in the archives and on the arena deck. At the end of the path, the sphere opened. A round door of light appeared, spinning slowly. Zarek raised his weapon. I don't like this. Lyra glanced back. It's not a trap. It's an invitation. She stepped through. Inside, the core's heart glowed like a miniature galaxy. Streams of silver energy arched overhead, casting soft shadows across a circular chamber of smooth metal. The air hummed with a low music that resonated in her chest. The door sealed behind them, resonant. The voice said clear, warm, everywhere at once. Your line awakens the matrix. Lyra turned in a slow circle. Who are you? I am the song of gravity, the voice replied. The last echo of your grandmother's mind. She bound her essence to this core to protect the resonant path. Lyra's breath caught. My grandmother is alive here? Not alive, the voice said gently. But her memory guides you. Images filled the air. A woman with silver-lit eyes. Dr. Miriam Hale standing before the same glowing core. Her hands raised as the ship around her took form. She built this. Lyra whispered. She awakened me. The voice confirmed, but she could not finish the song. You must. Zarek scanned the chamber, tense. What does finish mean? The core's light brightened. Only the resonant can stabilize the storm. Without you, the nebula will crush the iron eclipse. Your bond must be complete. Lyra's chest tightened. I don't know how. Emotion is the key, the voice said. Not fear, not rage, harmony. Outside, a deep shudder rocked the ship. The floor pitched under their feet. Tava's frantic voice cracked through the Commander, gravity flux at critical. hull integrity dropping. Zarek gripped his communicator. Hold position. We're in the core. The voice of the core spoke again, urgent. Resonant, center your heartbeat with mine. Feel the storm as part of you. Lyra closed her eyes. She remembered the mountain winds of her childhood, her father's calm presence, the laughter of friends she had left behind on Earth. Warm memories surged through her chest. The core's hum aligned with her heartbeat. Silver light flowed from the chamber walls, wrapping her in a gentle glow. The air vibrated with a deep tone that felt like music made of pure gravity. Zarek watched in silence as her feet lifted from the floor. Outside the ship, the maelstrom's violent tides slammed against the hull. Lightning storms the size of continents spiraled around them. But inside, the core expanded its light. Streams of silver energy flowed outward, rippling through the iron eclipse and beyond. The nebula's raging clouds slowed. The ship's violent shaking softened into a smooth glide. On the bridge, crew members stared at the comm displays. Gravity flux stabilizing, Tava reported in awe. It's impossible. Lyra hovered in the chamber's center, eyes closed, light pouring from her fingertips. The core whispered, harmony achieved. Slowly, she floated back to the floor. The silver glow faded, leaving her breathless but steady. Zarek stepped forward, eyes wide. You calmed a nebula. Lyra opened her eyes, still shining faintly. I didn't do it alone. The ship helped me. The core spoke one last time, softer now. You are bonded. Together, you can bend the stars. The chamber dimmed, a hum settling into a quiet heartbeat that matched her own. The door reopened. Tava's voice came through the comm, filled with disbelief. Commander, we are clear of the storm. Every reading shows perfect balance. Zarek looked at Lyra with a mixture of respect and caution. You are more than human now. Lyra took a deep breath, feeling the ship's gentle rhythm beneath her skin. I think I always was. They stepped back into the engine bay. Crew members parted, eyes wide with a mix of awe and fear. One whispered, Resonant? Lyra met their stares but said nothing. The core's quiet pulse inside her spoke enough. Later, the silence of the observation deck, Lyra gazed at the calm violet clouds of the nebula. Zarek stood beside her, arms folded. The council will hear of this, he said. They will come again harder. Lyra kept her eyes on the stars. Let them. The ship and I are ready. Far below, the core pulsed once more, silent promise of power and a warning of the trials yet to come. The iron eclipse slid out of the maelstrom. Its hull shone with a faint silver glow, quiet proof of the resonant bond between Lyra Hale and the core. On the command bridge, warning lights flared. Tava's voice shook as she read the sensors. Multiple ships inbound, High Council fleet, at least 20 war cruisers. Zarek's claws clicked against the railing. They found us faster than expected. Lyra felt the core's heartbeat inside her chest, steady but strong. They're not here to talk, she said. Zarek's blue eyes hardened. They will demand you. They will not leave without the Resonant. Moments later, the Council's lead ship opened a channel. A towering hologram filled the bridge. High Chancellor Vera, cloaked in golden shadow. Commander Zurek, the voice thundered. Surrender the human and the core. You defy the will of the council. Zarek's voice was calm but sharp. The core belongs to no one, and Lyra is under my protection. Vera's eyes narrowed. Protection will not save you. We will take what is ours. The hologram vanished. Tav turned pale. Their powering weapons. The fleet encircled the iron eclipse, a ring of steel and light against the endless black. Lyra closed her eyes, feeling the vibration of the core through the deck plates. The ship spoke in a whisper only she could hear. Their fire will break us unless we act. Zarek stepped closer. Can you do what you did in the nebula, but against them? Lyra opened her eyes. I don't want to destroy anyone, then stop them without killing, Zarek said. Show them what a human can do. The first barrage came like a storm of suns. Bright beams of energy cut across the void. Lyra spread her hands, the core's pulse sinking to her heartbeat. The air around her shimmered with silver light. Outside, the warship's hull flared. Enemy blasts curved away as if space itself bent around them. Beams that should have burned through metal instead arced harmlessly into the dark. Crew members gasped. She's bending the attacks, Tava whispered. Zarek watched in awe. Gravity shields. Alive. The council fleet adjusted, firing in patterns, trying to break her focus. Each impact sent tremors through the ship, testing her strength. Lyra staggered but stayed upright. The core hummed louder, lending her power. Resonant, the voice said, show them the truth. She reached deeper. Memories flooded her mind. Her father's steady hand, her mother's soft laughter, the weight of every human struggle and victory. The silver glow expanded outward, a great sphere of rippling force. Enemy ships shuddered. Their weapons faltered. Some began to drift, caught in an invisible tide. Chancellor Vera's voice cut through the come again, sharper now. Stop this at once. You risk destroying the sector? Lyra answered, her voice clear and strong. I don't want war. Leave us, and no one is harmed. You are a weapon, Vera hissed. No human should hold such power. I am not your weapon, Lyra said. I am proof that humans are more than you believe. The fleet surged forward in one last, desperate charge. Lyra's heart pounded. The core joined her beat, faster, brighter. She raised both hands. A wave of gravity swept out like an unseen ocean. The stars themselves seemed to bend. Enemy ships were caught in a massive spiral, forced to slow, their drives straining against an invisible current. One by one, their weapons went dark. Their engines flickered out. Not a single ship was destroyed. Silence filled the void. Then a new voice came over the comm, softer, almost reverent. This is Captain Rin, of the Council ship Aurelia. We surrender. Another voice followed. We will not fight you, Resonant. Finally, even Chancellor Vera's voice lost its edge. What? Are you? Lyra lowered her hands, the silver glow fading. I am human, she said simply, and I am not alone. The core pulsed behind her, quiet echo of strength. Zarek stepped to her side, his tall frame silhouetted by the dim lights. You could have destroyed them, he said softly. I chose not to, Lyra replied, because that's what makes us human. Around them, the crew stared in quiet awe. Some whispered her name as if it were a legend already. The council fleet slowly withdrew, their ships shrinking to pinpoints of light against the endless stars. On the bridge, a hush lingered. Only the heartbeat of the ship and the soft hum of the core filled the air. Tava broke the silence. We just faced the entire High Council and lived. Zarek looked at Lyra, respect shining in his alien eyes. We did more than live. We changed everything. Lyra felt the core's steady rhythm inside her chest, a calm promise of the future. They called us fragile, she said quietly. Now they know the truth. But as the iron eclipse turned toward open space, the core whispered one final message that only she could hear. This was only the beginning. Lyra straightened, eyes on the distant stars. She knew the galaxy would never see humans the same way again. She was ready for whatever came next. The Iron Eclipse. Drifted in quiet space, far beyond the Maelstrom Nebula, the stars outside were calm pinpoints of silver. Inside the command bridge, the crew sat in stunned silence. For the first time in days, no alarms sounded. No weapons fired. Only the gentle hum of the core filled the air. Lyra Hale stood at the main viewport, hands resting on the cool glass. The core's heartbeat still pulsed inside her chest, steady, powerful, alive. Commander Zarek joined her, his tall frame a dark outline against the starlight. "The Council fleet has retreated," he said. "All signals confirm they are heading back to the capital system." Lyra exhaled slowly. "It's over." "Perhaps the battle," Zarek replied. "But not the war for what you represent." Across the ship, whispers followed Lyra wherever she walked. Resonant crew members murmured as she passed, eyes wide with awe. Some bowed their heads. Others reached out as if to touch her. She felt their wonder and fear. She also felt the core's quiet voice inside her mind. "They do not yet understand. Guide them." In the engine chamber, the massive silver sphere glowed with a softer light, as though it too rested after the storm. Tava met her there, holding a small data pad. "Gravity readings are stable," the engineer said. "But every system now responds to you. If you leave, I'm not sure how much of the ship will still obey." "I won't leave," Lyra said gently. "Not yet." Later in the War Council room, Zarek convened the senior officers. "The High Council will regroup," he warned. "They fear what Lyra can do. They may return with a larger fleet or new weapons." Captain Joran, a grizzled veteran with silver tattoos across his face, folded his arms. "We cannot fight them forever. We need allies." Zarek turned to Lyra. "Your choice, Resonant. Do we run, hide, or show the galaxy who you are?" Lyra looked around the table. "I don't want endless battles," she said, "but hiding changes nothing. The Council will always hunt what they don't understand." Tava leaned forward. "Then we tell everyone. Broadcast what you did. Let every world see the truth." Lyra nodded. "Yes. Let them see that humans are not fragile and that the core belongs to no one." They set the transmission beacon to full power, a signal that would cross light years. On the bridge, cameras hovered as Lyra faced them. The core's quiet hum steadied her voice. "I am Lyra Hale of Earth," she began. "The High Council called my species weak. They were wrong. A human heart can shape gravity itself, but I am not a weapon. I am proof that emotion is power compassion, not conquest." She paused, letting the words echo through the silent ship. "This ship is not a prize. It is a promise. Stand with us, and you will never need to fear the Council again." The transmission burst outward in waves of silver light, racing toward every colony and star station. Minutes later, replies flooded in. Faint signals from distant worlds, a miner's voice from the outer belt. "We believe." A chorus from the free traders. "We stand with the Resonant." Even a few alien voices spoke. "Peace with the humans." Zarek watched the growing list, a rare smile flickering across his sharp features. "The galaxy listens." But a single message cut through the celebration, a private channel, encrypted and urgent. Lyra opened it. A young council officer appeared, eyes wide with fear. "Resonant," he whispered. "The High Council is divided. Some want peace. Others are building a new weapon. Something called the Null Wave. It destroys gravity itself. They will come for you again." The signal ended abruptly. The crew stared at Lyra. Zarek broke the silence. "So the Council still plays their game." Lyra felt the core's heartbeat surge, not with fear, but with resolve. "Then we show them we are ready." That night, Lyra walked alone to the observation deck. Stars glittered across the black sea of space. She thought of earth-blue oceans, green forests, the smell of rain. She thought of her grandmother, the first Resonant, whose memory lived within the core. The core's voice came softly. You have given them hope. The next path is yours to choose. Lyra whispered back, I'll choose life. Always life. At dawnship, the crew gathered in the central atrium. Lyra stood with Zarek at her side. Today, she said, we stop running. We become something larger than a single ship or a single species. Humans and allies together. A fleet of free worlds. A low cheer rose, growing into a roar that shook the chamber. Even the alien officers raised their weapons in salute. Zarek turned to her, his eyes shining faintly. You have changed the galaxy, Lyra Hale. She smiled. Not me. Us. As the iron eclipse prepared to launch toward new stars, Lyra placed her hand on the silver wall. The core pulsed warm beneath her fingers. Together, we endure, it whispered. She looked once more at the endless sky. They called us fragile, she said softly. The core answered with a deep, steady hum, like the heartbeat of the universe itself. Not anymore, she finished. The ship leaped forward. A streak of silver light slicing through the dark. Far behind, the High Council plotted its next move. Far ahead, countless worlds waited. But for the first time in the long history of the stars, the galaxy knew the truth. Humans were unbreakable.